I would like know my other cousin Mo in Baltimore because I do have a cousin Monique in Baltimore. She just don't talk to me.
You guys, we live. This is how good we are.
I
We are
know.
live. We are live. We're in the box. Listen, this is Black Women History Month at the BlaKBoXX Radio, and we are in the box. And it's a beautiful day in Baltimore. It's a little cool, but it's beautiful. And I have my sister here. It's going to be a great conversation. I'm just let me tell you something. This is my fourth edition. This is my fourth Black woman out of six. So I have two more. But I tell you what, this is a special one. I'm not going to tell you guys how I met because we're gonna how we met. We're gonna keep that between us. But it's really this is my sister here. We really have a great connection. I love Miss Shanita. Let me tell you something. I love Miss Shanita. So I'm so happy she's here with me tonight. But first, let's get through our regular. I am Queen. I'm a host of BlaKBoXX Radio. We are a multimedia platform illustrating Black excellence. We're based in Baltimore. We platform Black people, we expose Black genius, and we definitely disseminate information to the Black community and other communities. We do this about 6 to 8, 9 times a month. Please check us out at blackboxradio.com. That's our website. But we do this live on YouTube, BlaKBoXX Space Radio, and also on Facebook. We're still streaming live in the Facebook. So check us out there at BlaKBoXX. But also leave us a message, blackboxradio@gmail.com. Talk to me. Tell me what you need. We come out to the community. We touch people. So please communicate with us at blackboxradio@gmail.com. All right, guys. Enough of all of that. It's time to get in. We about to jump in. We about to go in. The sister circle starts now. So I have an amazing, amazing person with me tonight. I mean, this is my sister. This is she's electric. I'm telling you right now, you're about to get some energy. But she's a badass author. Let's just talk about this. This book is on fire. She's a professor. She's so much. She's a mother. She's a daughter. She's a lot of things. So first, I just want you to say hi to the people.
Hi, I am so very excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I do thankfully like a fair share of media for my book tour, but you guys don't understand how excited I am to have for this space because it centers us and it's so real and it's just going to be a dope conversation with no performing. It's just going to be us.
Yeah, this is all just dope, just authenticity at its best. So
Yes.
really, I want to kind of just move around like how we met. So we
Mhm.
did meet through OSI. So that's important.
Mhm.
That's just the Open Society Institute, the foundation now, because the field offices are actually closing. It's amazing, amazing uh, foundation that supports social entrepreneurs. And but I'm a social entrepreneur. You're actually a justice fellow. Am I correct?
Right. Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, so we are in the field office in Baltimore. She's a justice fellow. So they had a conference just recently. We went to San Antonio, Texas, and we met all of these amazing people. And it was just a room full of amazingness. I mean, it was one of the best things I've ever done. And I met Shanita Hubbard, and I swear it's like you meet your twin, or you meet your cousin, or you meet your sister. That was the connection that we have, and here we are, and we've stayed in touch. And she's on BlaKBoXX Radio, and she's coming to Baltimore. That's what we want to talk about that too, because she's coming to Baltimore with a book, and you guys need to come out. You need to buy a book, get her to sign it, and meet her. So we're going to talk about that later too. But first, Shanita, I just want you to tell us like where you're from. Just give us a little backstory on you, and then we're going to jump in and talk about everything.
Okay. So my name is Shanita. As you guys know, I am just a regular girl from Yonkers, from the projects in Yonkers. That's the home team forever and ever. You know, I did my undergrad at an HBCU. I'm team HBCU forever at Morris College in South Carolina, and then went over to Ohio because you know I be going where the money is, and they gave me a scholarship, so I was there. But I did that place like a bid. My program was like a year and a half, baby. I did my time, did my push-ups in my room, and kept it pushing and never looked back. Like I'm not that girl. Like Ohio is just not me. It's
That
freezing.
wasn't you?
Well, no, it's just it's too cold and just not enough Black people. Like I was like, yo, this
I
is
love
crazy.
that.
That's not me. I like the opposite of all of that.
Me too. Me too.
So yes, I wrote the book that I have always wanted to read, and I am incredibly excited that it is out in the world, baby.
Out in the world. You can't say my light is so daggone bright. You know, the studio lights, they so bright. Y'all see it? Can you see it
My
right?
lights are usually freaking bright, but like it's just giving dimness now. So I keep trying to, okay, this is better.
These studio lights are so bright. I have the book. So authors, when you come on someone's show, make sure they have the book. So the book is amazing. Amazing book. But go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. I was so excited for her to read it. Oh my gosh. Queen, we are like family. Like if anyone ever met, like to be around us, you would never know that we just met, because I'm like, our spirits met in a whole nother life. Like this,
absolutely.
She's my family. She is etched into it. She's that person where I don't think this will happen, but if something happened, life be happening, right? And if we didn't speak for like 5-6 months, and she could call me the next day, like, girl, I'd be like, hey,
tell you what happened, girl.
Oh, it's just forever love.
Forever love. And that's a beautiful thing, because a lot of times we move through life and we pick up people and they're just really pickups, and you connect, but it's not. I mean, I felt like I really connected with you after you put me in my place. Then then we really got to the connect. We had to get to
what was about me? I'm going to Baltimore.
We had to get to Yonkers first, yo. Once we got through the projects, you put me together, and then we really was able to connect and really become sisters. And it's just a beautiful thing. And to know that you're doing so much, because we're talking about the book, of course, but let's talk about more like what you've done in your life as a Black woman, just being a Black woman in spaces. What have you done? Like you're a professor, you've done a lot of stuff. Let's talk about it.
You know how people will be like, oh my gosh, I just don't want to start all over. That's such a foreign language to me, because I probably have 11 different lives. I'm like, start all over. I've had a million different lives.
So you've started over plenty of times.
I started over plenty of times. First of all, when things fall apart, that just gives you the opportunity for you to rebuild better, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I've had so many different careers. I used to be a therapist for 6 years, and people are always like, oh my gosh. And I don't know why they always look at me like that. Maybe because they think I'm a little bit off, but
you see, I'm looking like a therapist, like mental health.
Yes, mental health, a whole therapist with clients and everything, like wow. For 6 years. And then even now, that caused severe burnout, because I was working with the Department of Probation, and my clients was coming through them, and they were mandated by the court. You can't mandate therapy, baby. You just So it's like,
not good. Yeah,
honey, I had to work for that damn progress. So yeah, I did that for 6 years, and then I was a project director. I used to design alternative to incarceration programs for Black and Brown youth in the South Bronx, while I was also like developing alternative to incarceration programs for adults, like all of these things. And then when you work in nonprofit, like, as you know, right? If you work in nonprofit, it's very easy for you to just not have a job later
very
on.
Easy.
So there was like an unexpected job loss. And then I was like setting out my resume, looking for another job. And like in between those no's, because it was constant no's, breaking my heart no's. I'm like, bank account is dwindling. I'm looking out the window for the repo man for my car while I'm getting mad no's. So during that time, I started writing really just to keep myself like sane, and I started like a tiny little blog. And y'all got to remember, this was long after the blog era was like even cool. Like, who the hell is like starting blogs in this time? So I started a tiny little blog, and then I swear it was like the 3rd or 4th post. And then I remembered that I used to dream of being a writer, because what happened was I got so busy building other people's dreams that I forgot I had my own. Like, the company that I was working for, that was ironically, that's a Soros. He got a Soros fellowship to build that company.
What?
I didn't know anything about Soros or anything like that. I learned it there, and it became this massive company in New York. That's how I learned about it or whatever. So while I was there, I used to help other people like apply for grants and start their own program. Of course, I'm building his program. And then, Black women as a whole, we are just going to nurse everyone back to life, whether it's relationships, whether it's our community. So I was really dream building just for everyone else around me. So I was redirected during that time. It didn't feel like redirection, baby. It felt like rejection. It felt like torture. It felt like a whole lot. So I was really redirected and like had to sit and remember, like, damn, I really am a writer. Like, I really love doing this. So my path to becoming an author, it wasn't traditional. It's not like I went to school. I have a master's degree, but it's in criminal justice. I was only able to be a therapist because I minored in psychology, and I took out in New York. I have so much consistent training all the time. I have like hours of hours, years and years of clinical training ongoing. So I just woke up one day and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this for real. I'm going to give this a shot. So I really was a whole full grown woman with a kid doing this whole starving artist thing, probably looking crazy to people. But I was just like, for real. I was like, I know people's going to be like, you could just really get a job, yo. Like you could get a whole nother job. So I was doing that for a while. And then, it just took off. Actually, one day an editor from the Huffington Post in Canada came across my post, one of my articles, and she was like, "You're really good." And they brought me up there to write. Well, not physically, but I was, still American based. And then it just took off from there. And that took off. I'm making it sound, I'm giving you the consolidated version because it was a whole lot of rejection. It was a whole lot of me pitching ideas, getting ignored, getting rejected, a lot. So I really learned the writing business like in the mud. Like I think I told you before, Queen, like I had to end up like suing Ebony, which is my dream publication to write for. It was just like really hard. So, but everything, what I know about life, like every experience counts. Everything matters. Like I remember feeling incredibly isolated. I was like, because like I said, I didn't go to school. I didn't have these like big connections where I can get like a mentor or somebody help me. It's just me and my cheap ass $400 Dell laptop trying to get it popping. And I'm just like figuring it out along the way. And I used to cry. I used to be frustrated. I didn't understand this. However, what I didn't realize was that I was really learning the business, the business of writing from the ground up, right? There was no articles to teach me that. Anybody whispered in my ear. Like it was a straight up trial and error. So fast forward to 2020 when COVID hit and Black writers were hit really hard. I mean, my industry was hit bad, right? But you already know how it goes. When white America get a cold, we got pneumonia. So it was terrible for us. So I created this free course through NABJ. I created it and I had NABJ share it, National Association of Black Journalism. And I was, and no shade to them, but I was like, this is not just for the members because this is for people who can't afford to be members too. So I created a whole free class called The Power of the Pivot and talking about protecting and securing your bag and thinking large and thinking bigger as an entrepreneur. Artist. So I just created this class. I created this webinar. I put it out there and I just wanted to help. It was free. All I wanted to do was like help other Black writers and create content creators and everything. Somehow, again, it landed at the dean at the University of Toronto. He was like, this is brilliant. Can you design this class for us for University of Toronto? And of course, they're going to pay me because I don't play about my money. And and that's how I ended up like with that contract. And I'm still teaching other places while now promoting my book.
Wow. So you started writing a blog.
A tiny little blog.
A tiny blog. So you went from a tiny blog to writing articles for like magazines and newspapers?
For writing for the New York Times. Like I was, and this is probably, and I was really, this is like a low-key flex, but a high-key flex. So I was really proud of this. The New York Times is probably known as one of the hardest papers to write for. Let me just tell you this because I don't want to assume that everybody understands how the writing world goes. It's hard as fuck. Excuse my language. There's just no other word to describe this for a freelance writer to break into the industry, right? Because when you're freelancing and you're pitching a story, that means your idea, your writing, your style has to be better and different from the writers that they're already paying tremendous nice amount of money to on salary to make this publication go. We're gonna go outside of our budget to hire you.
Wow. So that don't happen.
That does not happen often. That's why a lot of writers, that's why there's so much rejection because they can't possibly say no to everyone. They just ignore it. That's your no. So you just got to go. And you just got to keep going and keep going. And knowing that you're going means being better than writers who are at, if you're at the New York Times, arguably one of the best, hardest publications to write for, freelance has got to be better. Think deeper, have a different angle from whatever on there. So I was aiming for that because I was like, let me press fast forward on my career. I was like, y'all tell me that's what it is. All right, I'm gonna aim for that because I'm gonna shoot my shot, honey. So I started pitching the New York Times a few times. I kicked my way in that door. And then my first entry in the New York Times, it was print and digital and Sunday Review, like all in one.
Okay.
I was like, check me out. And I was like, I don't want nobody think it was a fluke. Let me do it again. Let me do it again for the third time in case somebody, just try to hate. So then I did it the third time. After that, I got bored. I was like, I already did
Oh,
it.
listen, I see you. I see you, sis. So, we're not writers, so we want to kind of know how that business works. So when you break in and you become, is that like the Oscars with the Grammys? Can you demand more? Do you
Oh
get,
my gosh.
how does that work? Yeah.
When you start, this is why I like that you brought that up, right? Because when you talk about the Oscars and the Grammys, it's very easy. And I get myself caught up in that too, right? When I be like, yo, when people get, like, let's say the Woman King, when that director's brilliant, Viola's brilliant, they be like, yo, why do you care that you didn't get nominated? Why do you care about these white accolades? Fam, that can change. That's going to change the trajectory of her bank account. Like, you demand so much more. So it's not, I hate it.
That's what it is. It's the economic part of it.
Yes, it's the economic part of it. I hate the system that's designed. We know what it is. We know it's still another manifestation of white supremacy. But that's what it is. That is a game changer, right? Mm-hmm. So I was most excited. My personal goal was like, I can't wait to write for Essence and Ebony, because those are the magazines I grew up reading. We didn't have New York Times later around our house. I wasn't reading New York Times when I was online with my mother at the supermarket when she was shopping. That's not what I was doing. But I understand the economic impact. Once I started writing for them and just coming out the gate with print, digital, and Sunday Review, my rates went up. Like, I didn't have to hustle for the rates. You know what I'm saying? Like, my rates
just went up immediately.
Ain't nobody come to me with little stuff. Like, you can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, at first, I'm a person that talks very candidly about rates and money. I know it's kind of taboo to talk about salary and money, but it's important to me because Queen one day is going to be a published author, right? So I'm going to tell y'all, like I would tell her, I'm going to keep it a whole buck. Being an author is not like, okay, you're going to move to Atlanta, be a teacher. You can Google that salary, right? And you can get a range based on, what they may want. And then you can take those numbers and you can go into an interview and you can negotiate from a position of power, because you can't just Google what's a good writing deal. How much people get paid to write for the New York Times, freelancers. You're not in a position of power when you come to negotiate. So these institutions win when we remain silent.
So wait a minute. You just brought something up. So you can't Google with a good writer's deal. You can't Google because most things are public. You can find out what a doctor makes. You can find out what nurses make.
Yes, it's too many variables. You know what I mean? It's a best guess, and it's too many variables. But I break it all the way down to the white meat. You know what I mean? So just like I'd be like, okay, this is a good book deal. This is what you want to look for, right? So in terms of like freelancers are not paid a lot. I'm like public, like for example, Essence would pay for digital for, let's say, like 500 words, and they pay like $450 to $500 for like one article. So which means that, it's not. So you're not, first of all, freelance. When you're just freelancing, you always, you need another side of, ego. You better teach.
You ain't no lot of money.
And eggs, something like whatever. You have to, because you ain't really getting no money. So it's like for just to print. I'm sorry, for digital, but for Essence, right? So if you're writing in Essence, it's like $1 per word if you're writing in like the print. So you want to aim for like long form stuff, so you're getting like $1,400-$1,500.
Got it. So those articles you're getting paid per word.
No. At first, you're getting paid per piece in the beginning, so like maybe $500 per piece, and sometimes you're getting $500, and they be wanting like 800 words. So that's not even $1 per word. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So all of these accolades come from where you're published. So
it comes from where you're published and who you are, right? And what you know. Okay. And this is why I'm so honest, because like somebody can have the same background as me, right? But if they don't know what the Huffington Post pays, I can assure you the editors are going to do what they need to do to protect their budget. And they're going to offer you like a lower amount, until you push back and be like, no. Because that's the part that's not public. You cannot Google how much does Huffington Post pay freelance writers per word.
Absolutely, you can't find that because the variables and the person matters too. So so let's give an example, hypothetical. So say Barack Obama, he's writing, he's getting big cash per dollar.
Big cash.
Big cash per word.
Come on now, like that's just a whole different.
Okay, let's go with Barack is too much. He's too much.
Barack is too much.
Let's go. Angela Davis, she heavy too. So
that's still. Let's just talk like. I know it's like a writer on like my level or whatever. I'm still not even getting nothing crazy unless you're doing it frequently. I'm like $2 a word, and I remember when I first started getting that, I thought that was a lot.
Really? So like me, I don't write at all, and I come out with this first joint. And my joint hits, and I get in, and I got it's 450 words, right? My joint hits, it's just print. What I'm getting?
Where you at? What publication?
I'm in Essence.
Oh, with print for 450 words, you're gonna get like maybe 800.
Really? You know, because you're thinking like it's big money, but it takes a minute to get
These
to
publications
it.
are poor, especially Essence. They're hanging on by a shoestring. It'd be a miracle if Essence is here in 3 more years.
Wow. That's hard to hear. You know,
It is.
that's really hard to hear because these are magazines that I absolutely grew up with. I still, especially Ebony. I mean, the Ebony, you know, that and the Jet. That was my joint, you know.
I hated having to sue them. I hated it. It really felt like being in a fist fight in public with your cousin. But the only thing that kept me pushing was like Cousin Ebony swung first. Like, this is where we are now.
This is what it is. It is what it is
now. You should have took headshots, Abby, because this is where we are now.
Yes, this is how it's going down. So that's
and it was messy and terrible.
I'm surprised you can talk about it.
Oh, there's no NDA. Absolutely.
They can get it at. So.
Yes, I will air them out. Now, you know what it is? It was because that billionaire, they have new owners, but at the time it was this Black billionaire that bought it, and he was just exploiting community loyalty.
Okay, well, let's back up. So it was a Black billionaire that bought Ebony, right? And so Ebony, of course, has a cadre of Black writers and Black staff. Of course, it should. Only so he came in like a capitalist.
Yes, not like yes, absolutely, completely.
And so he thought that if you wrote, I just don't pay you, and there's nothing you can do because I'm a billionaire.
And there's nothing you can do because what recourse do you have to sue? You can't lawyer up with me. I could be in court long with you. But actually, the biggest thing, because once I realized that this wasn't slow payment, this is going to be no payment. When I wasn't getting my checks from Ebony, when I was reaching out to people, they were just like, "Oh yeah, that's what Ebony does." And a lot of people didn't want to come forward and be public with me, and didn't want to say anything because they was just like, they was afraid that they would get blacklisted and that people wouldn't want to work with them. So I was like, I'm gonna respect that. I'm not gonna say your name. I said, but that's not, I'm gonna fight out loud. Me, Shanita Hubbard, you did not pay me. This was my contract. This is what it said. You see this article right here? That's Barack Obama. That's my face. I wrote this right here in Target. You not pay me. Like, very public.
That's it. That's how you have, you know, that's what gets them scared because no one wants bad press.
No one been bad press. There was a whole hashtag Ebony O's. And I was like, yeah, we're going to make this public. I'm going to hashtag this up every time I talk about you. I'm going to make it trend and pop. I'm going to do all the media circuits. I hated it with everything.
But you had to do it.
Yes. Not when I was waiting for years for you to pay me.
Did you get paid?
Girl, I got paid because, and I'm going to tell you, you know this story, Queen, but I'm just going to tell it. We rescue each other all the time. And part of the reason why I pour out because I pour out so generously, Queen, like it just comes back to you. You know what I'm saying? Like everything you do comes back to you. So I'm having this fight with Ebony. It's very, very public. And the only reason why, and then the judge obviously ruled in my favor because that's what happens when you sign a contract and you deliver the work, people got to pay you. And then Ebony was just like, which I told my lawyers they were going to do. Sidebar, for those of you who are listening and you like, how did she afford a lawyer when you're not making this much? That's a very valid question. I joined a writers union. Like if you are, every industry has some type of union, and these union dues are not a lot. I might have been paying like maybe $20 a month. Yes, that's 2 cups of coffee, maybe 3 cups of coffee if you're drinking at Starbucks or whatever. So, and you can write it off on your taxes, and it's worth it. And that gives you access to lawyers in case something like this happens, or for when you blow up and you start getting these contracts in and you want someone else to look at them. If you're a writer out there and you're thinking about freelancing, join a union. This is part of what I talk about when I talk about the business of writing. So that was a quick commercial break. So back to
that's the toolbox. You know, we're building the toolbox for people who want to write. So that's
there you go. Join a union. So then the judge ruled in my favor, and I only was able to get like 12 of us to come forward. And when I tell you there's a whole lot more than 12 writers, because I've been doing this for years. So whatever. So the judge ruled in our favor. And then I was telling my lawyer, because at the time they kept like continuing and postponing and lying. It was just a mess. And I was like, yo, they're doing this because they want to file for bankruptcy. I was like, they stole it for a reason. And I was like, that's exactly what they was doing. So finally they gave us a really shitty offer, which was just take what we owe you, because we was also suing for punitive damages. If anyone out here has ever been broke, then you know that poverty is expensive, right? Because like when you start putting stuff on your credit card, that's interest rates, right? You start missing bills, that's interest rates. Like the whole, even in about the emotional stress, you know what I'm saying? You start letting it, you can't afford to pay like insurance, so now you're not going to the dentist, right? So when you do go to the dentist, your bill is insane because you ain't been in a while. Like poverty. Yes, poverty is very expensive, right? Even like the way it impacts your health, we can't really afford to eat better quality stuff, honey. We could just go on for hours about that.
Forever, yeah.
So it was just a really harsh. So we were also suing for punitive damages. I'm like, bro, like I damn near got my effing car repo messing with y'all. Like I remember one Christmas, like my aunt had to buy my daughter Christmas presents. Like it was rough, like to just miss all of these payments for a long time. So for them to say we're not going to pay punitive damages, we're just going to pay what we owe you was shitty, right? But they was like, and they said, or we're going to file for bankruptcy and we're going to scoop all of this lawsuit under it, and we ain't gonna pay you shit.
You gotta take them. You gotta take them coins.
Yeah, so I had to do that, and then I already didn't want to take that deal, so I took the deal because I was like, I knew y'all was gonna do this. This is super shitty, right? So we took the deal, and then they still did not. And they said we're gonna put you on a payment plan. I was like, oh, y'all doing the most. Y'all doing the most. And
a billionaire put you in a payment plan.
Baby. So they still having all these extravagant events. And it felt like, you ever like be scrolling Instagram and you just like watching somebody that owe you money over there to Turks and suntan?
They're like, get out the way. We busy.
Yes, we don't care. So it really became, when I say it was public and messy, like Black celebrities some of them felt kind of pressured to say something about their prolonged support of Ebony. Like I remember when at the time, like Queen Sugar was on the cover of Ebony, and then it's customary, like just like when this show comes out, you know, I'm gonna promote it or whatever, you promote the media platform that you're on. So Queen Sugar, that's just an expectation. You don't even have to ask that. So now Queen Sugar came out there on the cover, and it's an expectation for Ava to promote it heavy. So, but now she understands that, you know, we follow each other on Twitter. So I know you see me talk about shit, Ava. So
Ava knows now.
Ava knows
that Ebony owes.
Yes. So Ava knows Ebony owes. So she would share the magazine cover, and she says, however, I still stand with Black creatives and writers. You like make a statement. So every time a Black person would come forward, they would make that statement, which people in my lawsuit felt split about that. They felt like they should have took a complete stand and not fuck with them. I didn't feel that way, right? Because I didn't feel that way. You never know what Ebony means to them. And then bigger than that, you don't know what type of pressures they under. They got, you know what I'm saying? Black Hollywood ain't the same thing as regular Hollywood. So they still scrounging for press, you know, wherever they get it.
Absolutely. And we cannot drown our own stuff to make points. Yes, we have to have integrity. Yes, we have to have a relationship that really is contract based. If that's the relationship, let's do the contract.
Yes.
But we don't have to kill Ebony. We got to stop being like that. We got to kill the whole thing for us to feel better. That's not. And
then some of these people are contractually obligated. Like Queen didn't make me sign a contract to say you're gonna promote the show, but I'm going to. But some of those people are, right? Yeah. So fast forward to, you know, Gabrielle Union jumps in my inbox like the first time, like because like I said, it was a long trial. So Gabrielle Union hits me up and she was just like, yo, this is so shitty. You know, I'm not gonna share all of the stuff that she went through. And then she was just like, listen, I feel torn. She's like, she didn't really want to fuck with them because of, you know, they owed me. And I'm just like, the same thing I'm telling to you. I was like, girl, like, honor your contract, you know, promote your movie, blah, 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 blah. I respect
how she gonna jump in your DMs? Like,
no, I'm talking about we was just like Twitter cool, kiki. You know how you meet somebody on social media and then y'all just exchanging jokes on the timeline. Then it goes to like y'all talking in the DMs, just like that, right? So I especially did not expect anything from her, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's not like, you know, it's Queen. I'd be like, Queen, you still rock with them? And I'm like, cool. You just gonna post those Ebony covers on your IG page? I would have been texting you, right? So it's
but you really didn't expect, because she's on a different level too.
She's on right, and we don't have that. So I absolutely didn't expect that. So then I said, just make sure the person that writes your story, I was like, make sure they get their money. She's like, oh, absolutely. She broke that plan where she was going to make sure how that Black woman got their money. So I'm like, okay, bet. That was sufficient for me. So fast forward to, I don't know, maybe 7-8 months later, Ebony put me on a payment plan, still didn't pay. I was like, this is some crazy fuck shit. So
that's like somebody giving you pennies, you know, every day because they owe you $500, so they're going to give you a penny.
That is the worst. I was like, I ain't even gonna feel this. Like, oh my God, how you late? You want a payment plan? You ain't even make one payment. So I was like, this is crazy. As you just said, like on your jet.
Wow.
I was like, this is crazy. So then now I'm like ready to just cry because at this point I'm just exhausted. Like I don't have it in me to go another 2 years with this. I'm just furious and I'm exhausted.
So what we are? We 2 years in?
No, we're 2 years in. This is the second year, whatever. So then now I tweeted, this is social media is a powerful thing. So I was like,
powerful thing.
They ain't pay me and I'm exhausted, blah, blah, blah. This time, Gabrielle Union didn't come to me to say I'm conflicted. She came to me to tell me, she showed me the emails. She cursed them people. I don't want to say that. She's a very classy, wonderful woman. You know how us as Black women can put somebody in the business. She gave them the business, honey. She let the chopper fly. And she ended that and said, don't ask me for nothing when you owe my friend money. And then that was it. And Ebony apologized to her, not to me. So they apologized to her. But then like 3 days later, after being in court all of this time, I got my check. And then I felt really bad. I was thankful to her. I cried. But y'all know, I'm telling you, we rescue each other. So, but then I felt bad because I was like, I went back. I know this is doing the most, but I was like, can you please ask them to pay everybody though? Like this is crazy.
That's a Black woman, like, because we always think of somebody else. I know.
I'm not just gonna take my check because I know that people by this time we was in court together for 2 years, so I knew people
they were rolling with you.
Struggles. People were going through it. Yes. Like we were selling people were sending each other money for like basic stuff. Like really, people was going through it. So I was like, I don't feel right just being the only one that got my check, and she did. So there's people on that lawsuit to this day.
Shout out to GU. She a bad lady. Shout out Gabrielle Union.
They got their check because of her. And she knows the dopest part is. Like, I'll share the story publicly, and sometimes I'll tweet about it, whatever. She'll like it. But she's not one of those people. She has yet to be like, I had to end that Ebony lawsuit. She's never done that. She just got us our checks and kept on making her movies and doing her thing.
Kept on moving. But we got to stand in the gap like that. And she has the power to stand in that gap. And she used it.
Yes.
I love that. Because, you know, we talk about people from the outside. We don't even know them. We talk about how she raising her child. It's none of your business. Yes. You know, we talk about all of these things. But when things like this happen and they don't talk about it, it's so good to see that the heart is there. She has a heart for the people. So
she has a heart for the people because there was far more people with way more power to her than her who could have done that, but didn't.
But didn't. Yeah, love it. That's a great story. I want to drop that story, the Ebony story. So is Ebony still in business? Because they struggle.
Yes, it is. And do you know that the new owners came to me and asked me if I was interested in coming on, like, and they offered me like a really fancy high position or whatever, and I said no. Right? It's not even me being petty. We know what it is. I understand those different owners, and it's not me being petty. It's because you know what you got when you purchase this brand. You're going to have to do the work to rebuild trust in your community, and you're not about to make me the face of that because I don't trust you yet. So if I come on and leverage my integrity, people are going to think that you're trustworthy when I don't even know this to be true yet. Do your own work.
That's what's up. Because most people would go get their bag.
You can't leverage your integrity for a bag. Like integrity is like. It's like a freaking crystal. Like you have to protect it, baby. Once it's shattered, it is shattered.
That's a word right there. That is a word.
There will always be another bag. There will always be a bigger bag. And you know what else helped me to get this? Like in my season of when I thought it was just I was mislabeling it. I thought I was in a season of constant rejection, but it was in a season of constant redirection. Right. And every time I was the things that felt like the biggest rejection redirected me into something better. Like even circling back to how we met, Queen. Look how crazy this is. So the first fellowship I applied for, it was for $15,000. Right. It was to do this project on environmental racism. That's still something I'm passionate about. And then I didn't even make it to be a finalist. They were just like, oh, no, bye. I'm just like, oh, my gosh. So I actually emailed them. And I asked them for feedback on my proposal because at that time I was like, I hadn't wrote my heart out in this. You know, I'm like, Lil' Kim, I put 100% in every line I drop. So I was just like, to not even make it to a
I love it. So, not even make it at all.
At all. Not even a little bit. I was like, dang. And the rejection came quick. Like, I didn't even consider this. Like, I just pressed send.
They didn't read it twice.
Right. There was no contemplation. So I asked them for feedback, and the short answer is they thought it was like really abstract, right? It was like, they thought it was really abstract and didn't necessarily fit into the time frame of what they wanted the project to be delivered, right? And some other tips on how I can refine my idea. So I thanked them for it, but I sat with that. Fast forward to the Soros Justice Fellowship coming up. This one was for 15. And at the time, the Soros Justice Fellowship was for 85. I took their ideas, like not their ideas, but their feedback on how I can make my ideas more concrete and less abstract, and revamped my proposal for Soros. And fast forward, here we are. I got that. And it is incredibly, as you know, incredibly competitive fellowship. And it comes with far more rewards. One of the rewards being an annual conference so that you can connect with other fellows and make magic. So when I thought I was being rejected and it gutted me, and I was like, damn, I didn't even make the first round, it's because the creator was redirecting me because he was having something so much bigger. And a lot of times, I mean, at first I thought the bigger was the bigger bag, but look at the layers and how much bigger it was. I needed to be at that conference. I needed to meet you because when my aunt died, you literally like saved me. Like we had a conversation on the way out of the conference as I'm leaving about redefining our understanding and our spiritual practice and redefining our relationship with death. By the time I landed, I found out another aunt had died. I would have been gutted and shattered. So this redirection, like, you know what I mean? Like it's something so much bigger. This chasing a bag, baby, no, I'm not chasing anything in 2023. I'm on divine alignment. I'm not chasing no man. I'm not chasing no bag. I'm believing the universe for divine alignment because it always does better for me than what I could do.
Absolutely. And a lot of the times we don't trust the process. And part of that process is trusting what the universe is going to bring to you, and when it comes to mate, when it comes to your job or what you're going to do in your life, if you're going to write books or whatever, just let you put in the work. Now you got to work. So put in the work. You definitely put in the work, but the universe will bring you amazing things, and you're going to get rejected. I think, like you said, rejection is absolutely redirection, because usually you're going after. We don't put ourselves sometimes at the higher space. We go for just enough. Like I'm just going to get this, and then I'll go after that. But the universe said, no, you deserve that. And so we're going to reject you right here so you can get that. And so you get that, and that puts you in a better space. And all it was the process. Yes. It's the process. So a lot of times I got to trust my process because, we want it now. We want to get, especially when the bills is hitting, you're like, listen, I need this back quick.
Baby,
let me get these racks right quick. This is going to get me through, and then I'll worry about the rest later. But really, them racks ain't nothing, because we got something for you. We got super racks for you. And so that's where you are. And then this book, here we go, up to the book. So you got the Fellowship for the Just. How we get to this book, Ride or Die, a feminist manifesto for the well-being of a Black woman. How we get here?
Because just like you said, Queen, you got to do the work. Like, I'm going to shoot all my shots. Like, I've read this quote before. Somebody said something about that they're going to die empty, meaning like every dream that they have in them, they're going to push it out. Like, they're going to do this, right? I'm shooting my shots. Like, I am going to I still have this deep passion for environmental racism, and I am going to do a docuseries podcast. Yep, that's still going to happen. And I'm still going to be a professor teaching my classes, and I have this book in me, possibly more than one book, and I'm going to do it. So, and that's another thing about rejection, right? So then I got to the point where I don't want to say I reached the height, but because there's still further that I've put, to go as a freelancer. But I was checking off my bucket list stuff. I was like, Essence, I'm good. Ebony, I did it, but I ain't doing this no more, right? Did the New York Times. Yeah, right? And also, I wanted to get to the place where I'm not pitching anymore, where editors coming to me and asking me to write for them and ask me if I had ideas, right? So it got there, right? I reached it or whatever, and I was like, oh, this is great. And then I wasn't like, let me just sit back and chill. I was like, there's still more, because the thing about rejection is, yes, it is rejection, it is redirection, but you also have to be careful about becoming too comfortable, right? Because you can become too comfortable and stop pushing. And you can become too comfortable, like, yo, this is dope. Like, editors are coming to me now. I'm that girl or whatever. I done did the New York Times, whatever. But still, you can get so comfortable that you forget that you got bigger dreams, that you forget that you prayed. You forget what you prayed for because a little bit of it manifested. I knew years ago that I wanted to, to write books, but a little bit of it started manifesting. I'm starting kikiing with Black celebs. People know who I am.
You got the blue check.
You got a little blue check that, for the love of God, I don't understand why it means so much to the kids, to people. I don't want to say kids, right? So you got your little blue check on social media, whatever, you're doing a little press or whatever, but there was still so much more. Like, I still have my own dreams of writing a book. So I was like, I told people what my dreams were, what my goal is, and people was just like damn near ready to pat me on my head, like, oh, that's so cute. Because I was like, I'm a first-time author, and I was saying, like, listen, I want a 6-figure book deal because I don't want to be so broke no more. I don't want to be hustling like this. I don't want to teach a gazillion class and all this other stuff, right? So I was like, I want 6 figures. I want to sign with Hachette. Hachette is the publication that put out Harry Potter. I was like, I'm not no Harry Potter fan, but I can name some characters. That's big to me. I was like, I don't even read that book. I know it exists. That ain't even my damn genre. So I was like, I want to sign with them. I said, and I had the nerve to say, and I want a Black woman editor. Girl, people was looking at me like, are you crazy? Like, just like that. They were just like
pulling straws out the air.
Like, what kind of crazy wish list you got going on? So that was, and just for context, a lot of people there was this very public conversation where writers like Roxane Gay and all of these big names were sharing what their first advance was on Twitter, right? So it was like, I forgot what the hashtag was, but at the time I had my book deal and I was not participating in that hashtag. I was not tweeting about this publicly. If we having a one-on-one, Queen, and I know that, you're going to be an author soon, I will forward you my contract. I will tell you all of this information, right? Because that's not something you're going to weaponize against me. That's not going to something that you're going to like low-key hate, right? You have to be careful because every yes girl ain't a real yes girl, right? So you have to be careful about how you sharing this type of stuff. So I was like, oh, okay. So I'm following a hashtag and I'm seeing that there are New York Times best-selling authors, award-winning authors who we didn't get a fraction of what I've gotten. Like they got like $10,000 advance, $15,000 advance.
Wow.
Because I'm not sharing that. You crazy? You know how many people would come on? First of all,
they come for you. So you telling me your first book deal, you got the 6-figure deal that you wanted.
100,000, not like 500. You know what I'm saying? 600,000.
Did you get Hachette or
Hachette. I got Hachette and I got a Black woman editor.
And you got the Black woman editor.
Of course, yes. Because I was like, not playing. But I don't share this. Well, I'm not, you got to be careful because this is wonderful prophet that had told me, never let them niggas know how much dough you hold. Like Biggie already told us that. Like you can't tell everybody that. You can't.
That's it. That's it. You can't tell everybody. But the good thing about it is that's why you have to manifest what you want, first of all, through your mouth. You have to ask for it. You have to believe it in your head. So if you believe it in your head and you manifest it through your mouth and then you give it to the universe, just wait. The ancestors is ready to make it happen for you.
Yeah.
So we see here where you did this and people say, oh, she crazy. But you not only said it, it happened, and we're moving forward. We're keeping it pushing.
And then I had the nerve to say, I'm writing a book that's going to center Black women. Like when you're going for a book deal, you got to write what's called a book proposal, right? Which is for nonfiction. It's the first 2 chapters and then a summary of what the rest of the book is about. And of course, it's a segment of who you are, why this book is important, why you're the best person to write it. Like I was so specifically clear. I probably said this 9,000 times. This book is for Black women. I'm not talking to white people.
Trust me, the wording in here is Black. It's for Black women.
Right. So I was so clear. So even with my Black editor, right? I say, because I had like a white agent, because the Black editor, serendipity, I'm not trying to shade you. I'm just telling you the truth. Like I was shooting my shot and you wasn't with it. That's okay. So
that's okay.
Right. But okay. But you know what? That's okay. This is okay. So I just want people to know that I was trying to go for like Black women agents all around the board. But so my very white guy agent, I was like, this is the deal. I'm going for this or whatever. So boom. So it's very hard to get it's called a traditional book deal. There's either self-publishing or you get a traditional book deal. It is very hard to get a traditional book deal. Like
why is that?
Especially for one, white supremacy, right? That's the larger the answer, right? Because a lot of these be known because you write for these. In order to be known, you typically got to write for these massive publications, right?
It's
like a New York Times
industry. A lot of
gatekeeping. It's a massive amount of gatekeeping, right? And we're so completely shut out of that, right? And that's just hard in general for women. And so can you imagine how it is for Black women? So I don't even want to misquote, but it's something like ridiculously low number about, I think it's like maybe 20% of the publishing world are people of color. It's like not even Black people, just like people of color. And that might be It's very hard to gatekeep. And then that's another thing. You need an agent to get into, like, to get a book deal, because your agent has to pitch your proposal. And it's very hard to get an agent, right? People connect with gatekeeping. Gatekeeping is just the answer, which is why I'm super generous with information, with my resources. If I meet somebody, I'm like, yo, like Queen Def seen me in action. I'm like, yo, that's a dope book idea. I know an agent that reps your genre. Let me email him right now and co-sign you and do this email
Real
intro.
talk. I seen you do it.
Because we have to. We absolutely have to. Like, the level of gatekeeping is insane. So it's already hard enough to get a traditional book deal. And then those a lot of Black writers, and this is not me being shade to them, they write books when their audience isn't us, right? I can tell that it's very easy for me to tell when you're not talking to me, right? When you explain something that Black people already know, you're not talking to me. Like, what are you talking about? We know what this means. Like, come on now. Like, just look, we know culturally we have these way that we compliment each other. That, like,
Blackism.
Okay, hat. Like, I see you to the side, right? We have a very distinct way. I wouldn't have to explain that to you, right? So if I wrote that in the book, okay, I see you hat. You know that sister was rocking that hat. Now, if I explain that, because you wore a hat that was fantastic, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? Right? You're not talking to me. So I'm very intentional, like, not just because there's people that will write with, then there's a lot of not just writers, and we see a lot of shows, they want to tap into that Black dollar, but they're not creating for us. So I wanted to be intentional to create for us. So I remember going through the process with my editor, and I wrote, and there's something in the book, and I said something about, I was writing about a younger experience, and I'm from New York, I'm from Yonkers, and I'm 43, so I said something about wearing my 5411s, and she was like, I don't even know what this is. I said, I'm not writing for white people. And she was like, Shanita, she said, this is a very New York, maybe even Yonkers terminology, okay? So I was just saying, she's like, it's not writing for white people.
And this is a Black woman, y'all. That tells you how acculturated we are, even in our movements. This is a Black woman, and no shade on her, but she's in the industry that she has to look at things like this, unfortunately.
And what she said was, she was like, listen, there's going to be a Black woman in the Midwest, let's say, and maybe in Wisconsin or something, who's never heard that term before. You have to think about this too. And then that really pushed me, because I used to get so defensive when they want me to explain something, because I felt like they want me to write these little notes for white people. So I was going off on my laptop and meetings. But then I was like, you know what? Shanita, Black woman, we're not a monolith. Right. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not a monolith. We are layered and diverse, and they express their Blackness in different ways. It doesn't make them less than. And it's okay if they don't know what 5411s are. Go ahead and explain it.
So when you receive that helps you, your writing, though, your writing expands. It can still be Black and for Black women, but it just opens it up, because it was so many different Black women. And sometimes when we're like on the East Coast and New York, and this flavor that we got over here, that flavor ain't in the Midwest. Let's be clear.
I know. Yes.
You know, we got a flavor over here that everybody don't have. And not that their flavor isn't just a season, it's just a different flavor.
It's just different. Yes.
I don't want to shade nobody's flavor, but this flavor over here is real aggressive sometimes.
Yeah.
You know,
it really is. So just
it really is.
This. I'm like, really? Okay.
They in the Midwest chilling, and you coming with 54. They're like, 50, what the heck is that? You know, so I get what
I'm like, what you call your Reeboks? They're like, Reeboks? I'm like, y'all don't even call sneakers? This is so confusing. Like, tennis.
Yes, I call sneakers. You know, in Baltimore, they call it tennis. I'm like, what is tennis?
Girl,
but every place is different, you know, and we right in the same area, but it's different. So I get what your editor was saying. She's trying to open you up to the possibility that there are other Black women, sis.
And I was just so guarded, because writing for, like, when you go, I started out writing, the Huffington Post, but like I said, my dream was always like writing for Black publications, right? So when I'm writing for Essence and even thrU, like, you know what I'm saying, like back when it was like much better, but that's a whole different story, right? So I'm writing for these Black spaces. I was really conscious of when, like, editors from the New York Times or even Elle magazine, like, you reaching out to me, right? They want me to write. I was really conscious of, don't try to water down. Don't be trying to get me to write this Black woman book for your white audience. So you know me, when you see me being defensive, right? So I'm really conscious.
You're the homegirl writer. You ain't playing, like.
Well, like, I mean,
I'm a homegirl, and we're gonna stay Black here.
Right. I mean, it's not even, that doesn't necessarily mean that I want to say 5411s all the time, but I want space to break that down, right? Again, so I'm just like, I was just very conscious of white editors, like these larger mainstream, that's what they call white, right? But these mainstream publications wanted to make you, fit into, how do they say it? We want to help you to kind of connect with our audiences more. I'm like, but you came to me when you read my work. So your audience will have to connect with me or find another writer that does connect with your audience.
Whoa. And you meant that, eh?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I remember I was right. You guys read, Pitchfork? This music publication?
No.
So it's a massive music publication. This is crazy. All right. So I remember I wrote at the time, like Nicki Minaj, I write about, my feminism is very intersectional. Like I always be clear, like this is not like white women feminism. Like I'm centering the most marginalized amongst us. Like if I'm having a conversation about like what we need to address in our community, I want to make sure that we're also including our LGBTQ family, like all the time, like Black LGBTQ, because their needs are very distinct from white ones, right? Very intersectional feminism, very deliberate about that. So I remember one time Nicki Minaj was doing some fuck shit, right? So she was getting roasted because she was using her massive platform at the time to like support this rapper that had like was convicted of these sex crimes against a child. So so she was getting, people was coming at her, right? So she released an album and with him, you know what I'm saying? She's promoting it with him, which of course, and he's lesser known at the time. So now you're using your platform to promote him out of all the people in the music industry. So she caught a lot of really harsh criticism. So I was like, and she didn't say anything. So I wrote something for Pitchfork. And I was like, I'm going to present something nuanced about, the pressures that Black women endure in the industry. And while I'm also going to hold her accountable for the way she uses her platform, because that's harmful. So I'm thinking I'm writing and also like internalized sexism, how, we don't always realize this. Like it literally creeps in like a poison, like it's like carbon monoxide, like you can ingest it. And then next thing you know, you're manifesting it. So I'm thinking I'm writing this really nuanced piece to like be fair and balanced. So that was published. And then like, I lied to you not, like a few hours later, my phone is going crazy because she's furious about the piece and she's talking so much shit about me on Twitter. And I'm that whole, I hate this. Like, I'm not the whole Twitter fingers beef type of person. Like, I don't even come from this era. Like, I'm come from this era. Like, we just meet in person and we just handle it. Like, in crowd, like this is crazy.
You gotta throw hands, something like that.
So it's weird and crazy to me. So she's like going off, and then she's saying the craziest shit. Like she was like, she was paid to write this, and she didn't say this when Lady Gaga, she's literally said a blatant lie. She said Lady Gaga did a piece with R. Kelly, and she said she wrote a piece saying that it was great. My mind is spinning because this is all happening so quickly because she's saying this bullshit. Her fans are just like going along with it. People going crazy on me on social media. And that was the first time in my life where I'm just watching rumors unfold about me. So now people are talking. I'm just like, this is crazy. So like Black sites are covering it. Freaking Billboard is covering it. Black gossip magazines are covering it, but they're calling it a feud. I'm like, I didn't say nothing. Like, this is not a feud. This is crazy. This is insane.
You see how the media, they pour gas in the fire,
By the end of the day, and I'm not even exaggerating, by the end of the day, I read that because a while ago, I used to always tweet about having this relationship with Nas in my head. Always, right? He's so cute, like years ago. So when there was like rumors years ago about him and Nicki Minaj dating, I said something like, oh my gosh, you're trying to break us up as a joke, right? So this was years ago. Fast forward, somebody went and found that old tweet. And then by the end of the day, can I tell you, they said, this is what the internet was saying. Me and Nicki was at an industry party and I got mad because she showed up with Nas and I wrote this piece because Atlanta paid me to write it. Like Cardi B's record label paid me to write it. But it's really fucked up because Nicki used to support me like crazy. And this is what I did.
This is all came out. None of this happened.
Oh, none of this happened. I'm like, this is a whole big thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I went at the time I was teaching at Northampton. I went to teach my class. This happened like on a weekend. I went to teach my class that Monday. My dean pulled me to the side, my dean at my school, to ask me about this because it was
about Nicki Minaj and you.
Yes. I said, you just pulled me to the side to ask me about something with Twitter and Nicki Minaj. That's what just happened here. And she was like, this is crazy. It was crazy. I was like, so it got so bad, I had to end up responding. I said, Nikki, this shit is crazy. I said, this is insane. I said, we don't have to do this on Twitter, sis. Like, you can literally DM me and we can handle this whatever way you want to. Like, I was just like, I can't go. I'm like, this was hard because I'm like, I don't want to feed this fire, but I want to fight her, but I want to feed this fire. It was just crazy, batshit crazy.
Well, some people would fuss with Nicki Minaj because it gives them a platform. But
no,
it's not.
Just stop. Oh, she tried to get the peace pulled. She tried to get the peace pulled and buried and all this shit. Yes, she had a team go out, and it was a big deal. And the editors, they was pushing back. They said, if you can point to something unfactual that she said in here, we'll gladly do it. But of course, she couldn't.
Wow. So have y'all ever talked or handled it?
She's no, that was crazy. That was
no talking, nothing.
After I said that, because I was like, because when someone says, I don't want to do this public, we could do this behind closed doors, however way you want. You look crazy when you keep going in public. You look crazy at this point. Her fans, I had to end up blocking like a gazillion people. I'm like, that was crazy.
Wow.
I had to like stay off social media for a while after that.
Let me tell you something, the power of the pen. Or the power of writing something down and how someone responds to it. And you're feeling one way, you're thinking that you're kind of making a nuanced opinion, and they are completely offended. Yes. And past offended, they have a platform to come for you.
Mm-hmm. And she said things that's not true. I'm like, yo, that's not even me who wrote the article she's referencing, but this is how groupthink works. No one even looks to be like, well, actually, she didn't even write that article that Nikki said. That's not even true.
Wow. See, she brought the smoke. Listen. Yeah. So, listen, that's when you guys are out in these spaces, you writers and, you blue checkers. So y'all fussing with each other's.
So fast forward to the book. I am very conscious of like what you write can have reactions that you didn't necessarily intend.
Yes. So what is the book? It seems to me as I read it, it's like an autobiography. It's like it's like you're reading it to me. Is that really what you intended?
I wanted to feel like brunch where you have maybe a little mimosa, a little edible, and you guys are just talking about all of the things, right? You bringing stuff to the forefront. So you kikiing, and then we also talking about, hey, we could like in my book, I don't I always try to say this because I don't want anybody to think I'm pro ride or die, right? Ride or die, a feminist manifesto for the well-being of Black women. Like the first chapter, I'm explaining like what a ride or die trope is, right? Yeah. And I'm showing my own scars, like how I got there, how it's indoctrinated in our culture, because it's not just in hip hop, it's in the Black church, it's in our communities, it's all over, right? And it's either. So I'm talking about that, but then I'm also want the readers to know this is just not I want us to abolish the ride or die industrial complex. We are defunding it. We are getting rid of it. We are not operating in that capacity. What we are doing, pouring out from an empty cup. Where our labor equals love, or we feel like we can't be loved without labor, right? Where we're going above and beyond to do anything for everyone with expecting no reciprocity, because that's how we were just taught to function. And the reward itself is simply being chosen, whether that's in a relationship, whether that's at work, right? We operate that like that in so many ways. Like we've seen that. We've seen our grandmothers, be the first people at the family event to cook, set up, may not even get a plate, and they're the last people to leave, right? And we love them and we reward them, but we have to understand that our love doesn't mean that we're a mule. Like we're not the labor mules of the world. And a lot of times labor and this work that we pour out is always rewarded with more labor, right? Because if you even think about it, even in a work setting, when you are the person who is like, oh my gosh, well, we can give this to Queen because she can complete this task and she can do it. She's so efficient and she knows how to multitask. You can talk to her and she still will get her work done. And she's playing, she can do all of this. That reward usually does not get compensated financially. You get more work for that. We're going to give this to her too. We're going to give this to her too. And because a lot of us are so used to trying to prove our worth through labor, we continue to perform like that. And so many of us in our relationships, we are all he needs is a good woman to fix him and put him back together. Like I used to tell people, I used to be captain of the Builder Brother squad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all he needs, I can help him get a good job, give him some books, do this, do that. I'm gonna help him get a C-flight in, and then he's gonna be good, right? Just how I'm gonna build this brother up, I'm gonna pour into them. And the reward itself is the work. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we just are conditioned to function like that. And it's harmful. And this is not just my opinion. So I was pulling in data about how this affects our health. Like, it's literally killing us. There's this concept called weathering, right? Where this is Black sociologists coined this term, and it's talking about how racism erodes our bodies, right? And then there's this more data talking about how really deconstructing what I'm saying and explaining how we Black women are culturally susceptible to this whole strong Black woman idea, this whole ride or die, right? And how that overperforming and how that impacts us physically and emotionally, right? So if you combine that concept with the fact that weathering is a real thing, we are twice as likely to die early because of all of these things. So when I say this is killing us, this is not my opinion. Like, this is literally tearing and eroding our bodies to operate in this function. So when I'm saying we pull a plug on this, like, we're not doing this. So my goal is for readers to get that concept in the first chapter, and then the rest of them, let's talk about, like, okay, now let's focus on our well-being. Now that we're not riding until we die, let's talk about all the other areas in our lives that we're going to focus on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I love that. Black women are the glue to, I was saying it last night, like, we will, if we got to put something together, we'll do salad dressing, some sand, we'll put milk, we'll find a way to glue it back. And, you know, even if you go into the office and there's a secretary, she's Black, she's running the whole office.
Yes.
You know, a Black woman, she's running everything. You know, she's in the back office, she's telling the doctor what to do, she's moving everything. That is inherently in us, but it's being taken advantage of. And also, we are actually taking it to a new level where we are actually dying. Heart disease is prevalent in Black women. We put our hearts on the table and it gets diseased.
Yes, across the board, honey.
Across the board. So, you know, this book is important for us to unpack some of that. It centers Black women, and we need centering, because a lot of times we put ourselves in the center for everyone else, and then we're the first one to fall out the center, and then everything falls apart. My grandmother died, the whole family falls apart. Because the matriarch is so powerful in keeping us together till she damn near kills herself, and then she dies, and then everybody falls apart like like she was never there.
Yes.
And it happens over and over in our families. So we have to find a way to definitely, this ride or die is going, we're literally dying. So we got to change the way we are living. And I think that your book is so present to what's going on. And a lot of times I think we don't know we just don't know ourselves. That is Black women are lost in fixing everything. We are the fixers, and you cannot fix. We fix our men, we fix our children, we fix the community, we fix the child that don't have a father or a mother. We're fixing everything. We at work fixing folk. We're not mechanics.
We are not the muse of the world. And one of the things we do, a lot of us, we're getting to the place where we take so much pride in that, right? If you think there's so many women that. Yeah, but like, girl, I've been here 5 years. I ain't never took a day. I took a day off in 3, and you know, and since I first got here, I don't even take a day off, and I've been doing this. That's not a badge of honor, sis. Right? If you think about the last presidential election, like, Black women, we overwhelmingly came out and not just voted, we were organizing. We were knocking on doors. We rescued America from itself the best we can. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we got some fantastic savior, right? So this was this wonderful thing. So when the data came out, like it always does, that we were the ones, you know, voting in our best interest, choosing the cream of the crap, right? Doing what we could to save ourselves. People were like, oh my gosh, all hail Black women. This is so fantastic. This is so wonderful. But that didn't come with like power over policy. That didn't come with any decision making about things that impact our communities. That came with like nice accolades. Like the Washington Post printed something about, you know, Black women in turnout. That's all it is. Like we get stars and pats on our back, but not real power, not real change. Going back to what Queen said, if you go through any office, I don't care what it is, if it's a doctor's, dentist office, whoever, if there's a Black woman as a secretary, she's running that office. And a lot of times that sense of pride is enough for her because it's not reflected in her check. Sis might have took the bus to work, but she's running that office.
She's running that office, and that is a problem. And you bring up the election. I mean, with Stacey, what is her last name?
Abrams.
Stacey Abrams did, and the galvanization and her genius, and still not to be voted in, and still twice, and still on the periphery. and being so great. That tells you how we are never rewarded for our greatness. This chick orchestrated something that did not think would happen, and she did it, and she continues to do the work, and she's still on the periphery and don't have and really she has power because she has social power and her own genius power, but to be rewarded with an office for her genius, you would think is regular. That's just going to happen. No. And that doesn't happen. And so
it would have happened if he was a white man.
Of course it would have happened. They would have talked about him every hour about how genius he is. And
he would have been on the presidential track. Had Stacey Abrams been a white man, he would have been on the presidential track, and we know this.
We know this. And so we're in this America, and we have to, read the book. I don't want to say no more. Read the book, Ride or Die, a feminist manifesto for the well-being of a Black woman. Pick it up. Where is it, sis? Where can they
Everywhere books are sold. Wherever you buy your books. I would love it if you could support a Black-owned small bookstore. But if Amazon got a soul in the chokehold, I won't be mad at you if you get it there too.
That's it. So tell the people what's going down in Baltimore. You coming?
Yes, I'm very excited. February 12th, 6:30 at
February.
I'm sorry, April. I'm tripping. April 12th. April 12th.
Okay,
April 12th at the Enoch Pratt Library, at the main library. Wait, do I have to say that, or do people?
You gotta say that, sis. The main library downtown.
At the main library, Enoch Pratt. And I'm going to be in conversation with the remarkable DaBoXX. He has a book out called, I think it's like Black Boy Joy or something, and it's really good. So I think we're going to be like he's going to be a great conversation partner for me. So we're going to laugh and joke and talk about our books and all of the things. And also, I like that Queen when she talked about Stacey Abrams still being on the periphery, even though she's so great. Some of us are still on the periphery in our own lives, right? The example I gave about Big Mama coming first to the family event to set up and cook and make sure everything is good, and she don't get to eat, and at the end while she's setting up and cooking in the kitchen, everybody's laughing and joking, people are playing spades, people are having a wonderful time, and she's not even getting to enjoy the fruits of her labor. A lot of us live like that. When I say I got so busy building other people's dreams that I forgot my own, like, what are you forsaken when you are so busy being putting together and pouring into your significant other's dreams, plans, goals? Like, what are you forsaking when you are overperforming at work and your reward is more work, right? What are you forsaking in your own life? You're living on the portion of your own life when we operate like this. So in Baltimore, we're going to talk about all of the things, and a lot of times people are like, oh, I thought your book was just for Black women. And while I'm doing like this, a lot of media press run, I've had some of my best interviews with Black men. So now I'll say my book centers Black women, but it's for anybody that values and loves us.
Absolutely. Black men need to, because the only way we can get out of this space, they would have to help usher us out, because they have these expectations of us that we fall right into, and we become their mama. I hear so many women call men, this is my king, and he is not a king. He is a bum. Let's
baby, say that.
And we will call them kings and king them, and they've not done much. And we're the ones
that created a kingdom for you, sis.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. And we're toiling and we're building and we're paying for this king. So we have to be very careful, and Black men have to help usher us out of this too, because they are part of the problem, and we heal together. And there's no attack on Black men. We love Black men, but we heal together. For Black women to come out the ride or die, our brothers got to present a safe space for us.
Yes, because even for those of us who are recovering ride or dies, right? A lot of it takes a long time to unlearn. It's one of the challenging things that this manifests itself in me in so many different ways. Like in my book, I'm talking about how, because I don't want anyone to think I'm simply talking about relationships, because wherever you go, there you are. If you're that person at work, you're that person in the community, you're your person in your church, you're even that women, it even manifests in your motherhood. Like I talked about at a time in my life where I was incredibly busy. I'm a single mom. And I remember like really needing to hire a cleaning service. Not because my house was chaotic, but it was just like unorganized. Like at that time, my only free day was Saturday, and I felt guilty. I had to negotiate with myself, almost plead with myself to hire Molly maids just to keep your time, right? And I'm like, no, that's not what we do. This is not what Black women does. This is not what my family do. But it doesn't matter that I had the money. It doesn't matter that I was exhausted. I put myself on trial and decided I was guilty for just wanting my own Saturday.
Absolutely.
So there's so much unlearning to do, even outside the scopes of relationship.
Yeah.
And then in a business perspective, like I talk about this a lot for accountability, is because I'm still in the unlearning phase in terms of like my business. Like it's very hard. Like I structure my business to where it's almost bottlenecked. Like I'm the top, like that's it. I make all the decisions. It's really, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just me. I'm in total control because no one is never not going to, like I need this type of control.
This is my baby.
This is my baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I went through a really long time where I would not say no to anything because I'm scared that, because I'm used to overperforming. I'm used to constantly working. So if I'm not constantly working, and then I feel like I'm being lazy, then I feel like I'm failing, then I feel like my business is not doing well because I'm not overworked, because I'm not exhausted. So it takes a lot to unpack. So yes, we need our brothers to divest from this, but we also have to divest from it first.
That's true, because no one can treat you unless you allow them to treat you that way. So first of us, it's inside. We are actually manifesting it, and then everyone else is jumping in and saying, okay, we're going to get some free help. We're going to get a killer helper, and we're going to get this person who's going to keep us together. And we now take it as a badge, but it's not. It is actually
not a badge of honor.
It's cancer. It slowly eats away at you, your mental health, your physical health. And you see a lot of women who are fixers, they're not healthy. And you usually get some type of addiction, either that be that king, or it be food, or it's some type of addiction that you're holding on to because you feel so inept in so many different ways, even though you're the fixer, because you can't fix you. And that's it. And that's what we have to do. First, the trauma starts with you. Why do you feel like you need to be validated by fixing? You got to find out why. What is your why?
Baby, if we keep it in a whole buck, I'm telling you, like, I remember and I'm still guilty of this to this day, but sometimes the thing that I try to control the most in other people is the things I haven't mastered yet in myself. So it's easier for me to try to control it in you than to really just sit with me. Because I've recognized that like in myself, like across the board in so many ways. So when I meet a sister and I'm just like, why is this irking me to my core that she's doing A, B, C, and D? Because I haven't mastered that in me yet. It's so much easier for me to reflect on her, what she's doing, and break her down to the white meat than to sit with the fact that I still am that's out of control in my life.
That's work right there. That's doing the work, because usually our problems outside of it starts in us. So we're looking on the outside, but really it's all inside. And so I have to do the same thing. Like, why do I don't like something in someone else? It's because of me. It's because of me. And when you start working with you, your universe changes. Your DNA changes, your mindset changes. And then that's how you present to your relationship, and you present to your family. And you won't allow, even from your own children and your mate, you won't allow certain things because you're centering your health. And when you center your health,
baby, I'm really committed to, like, a lot of us, like, I don't want to say every Black mom, right? But a lot of us, we feel like Black motherhood means martyrdom. Like, you have to be a martyr, right? Because we've seen, it's indoctrinated. And in my book, I use hip hop as a lens or an entry point into these larger conversations. And also because hip hop is also like a microcosm of our communities. It's ours. It started with us. So a lot of these problems that exist in hip hop exist in our community, exist in our homes. Like, so when we hear pop, most of the songs that you hear about a rapper that's talking about their moms, they're beautiful and they're dope. I love for them to get their roses, but they always talking about, mama didn't eat, to pay the bills, and she barely scraped by, and all this other stuff. Like, they was a martyr, like they would starve, so their kid. And I understand the socioeconomics structure that would make that to be so, but I can give a zillion other examples of how Black motherhood equals martyrdom. Like, girl, I don't be going out, I don't do this or whatever. And I'm not saying you got to be going out throwing your ass in a circle every weekend because you have a kid, but my struggle with wanting to hire somebody to help me, a cleaning lady once a month or something, was because I felt like, again, like I have to show my love through labor. I have to be constantly exhausted. I have to be worn out because that's a good mother, right? So the more I break out of that, I'm intentional about telling my daughter no and setting boundaries. That's my whole. I love this child with everything in me, but sometimes I tell her, I don't want to talk right now. I need a minute. Or sometimes she's like, Mom, can you take me such and such and such? I said, no, I cannot. She's like, you got to work. I'm going to the spa. Like, period. Like, because I need this time. And I had long conversations with her. Like, I try to be I don't want to read about my motherhood one day in her memoir. So I try to work this shit out now. So
talk about it now.
Right. So one of the really challenging parts about being a single mom and having this career or doing all this is because I would be tired all the time, right? And when I'm tired, I'm snappy. And my daughter told me that one time, like she was just like, like it's hard because you're exhausted, and I don't know which mom I'm gonna get sometimes. Are you gonna be the mom that's cool that I can talk to, or are you gonna like be snappy? So I just keep it to myself, or I just pretend that I'm okay so that you don't ask me what's wrong because I know you're already tired, right? So while I'm working as hard to do this for her, I'm fracturing our relationship. So I said that brings. So I told her, I said, damn, this don't mean nothing. If I could put you in a house and I could fly first class with you, if we not even speaking on that plane, like that doesn't even matter to me. So I know we just start to unpack. And I was like, listen, I can't white knuckle this, right? I said, sometimes I'm really tired, right? And I'm tired because, and I broke it down to her. So I was like, what we're going to have to do is like, I'm going to need certain times, like, whether it's not once a month, like a week or something, or when I need it, I'm going to tell you. And I said, and I used to be so afraid to tell you because I felt like you would feel like I'm rejecting you. I said, but it's not me rejecting you. It's me telling you what I need. So we have these lines of communication. And then I'm like, we set up an accountability system. I'm like, you can tell me when I'm doing this again, right? Because I'm still unlearning and it's going to take me a while to get there. So when I'm being snappy, what I'm doing is tell me, because our relationship is the most important. But you also have to know I'm a woman. I'm a whole person. Some days I don't want to talk to any child. Some days I just want to talk to tax-paying citizens. Like I just want to talk to other grown-ups, right? And I was like, that has nothing to do with me.
Yes.
We really have to reject this narrative that motherhood looks like martyrdom. Like it's not cold. There's probably a lot of reasons why this younger generation be like, I ain't trying to have no kids. Yes, a lot of it is economic. Yes, a lot, but some of it is also the picture of motherhood that they've seen growing up.
Absolutely, the relationship that they've had and they've seen, and that is why community. Because listen, we got different kids. When you have techno kids who can go to Google, they ain't got to ask you nothing. You can't scare them. Everything they can find out. So you got to have this communication with them, this real relationship. I remember when I grew up, get in your place. You don't be around grown-ups. All of these rules.
I said so.
Yeah, all of these rules that we have to keep us in a fair-paced space. And unfortunately, it was some of the trauma that they went through that they kind of set onto us. And so now we raise children with all of these discipline, but it's with discipline without love is nothing. So we, and discipline can be communicated in so many different ways. So we have to find in this technological world, we got to unpack that, like motherhood. I'm not a mother, but I understand that these kids are different.
They're
different, and they have more tools. You cannot raise them. Oh, and you don't talk. That's not your business. They can find out all the business, And so we have to find a way to innovate all of that, But communication is the first thing, and I think a lot of Black women is we're so tough and strong. We got to talk. We got to communicate with each other. And transparency is a beautiful thing, and vulnerability, and being vulnerable with the people who love you, and hoping that they will give you and pour into you and give you a path for growth.
Yeah. Queen, you said you're not a mother, but you are an auntie, and you are so up. I'm saying you're an auntie because I got a child and you're my sister. So you at least an auntie of one. And Absolutely. This village work is important. And this is so I prayed, I want my village to be able to pour into the things in my child that I don't have. Right. So all of and this is like we have. And I'm not talking about, I'm just about the Black community, right? So I need you out there listening to unlearn some stuff, because I'm gonna be trusting you with my daughter and my child in some capacity, right? Absolutely. I need you to undo some stuff, and I'm going to unlearn and I'm going to do, because I want to help your children too. I have a question for you, Queen. Like you said something, and it's so real, and I agree. My question is, how are we going to get here? So when you said we need our brothers to divest from this ride or die mentality. So let me tell you, I was doing this interview. I would say the name if I remember the station, but it was in Chicago, and it was this live interview. Baby, I ain't never wanted to hop off an interview so fast in my life. So these Black men, because I did an interview, I was talking about the book, and the host was a Black guy too. These clues, okay, we're going to open up the floor for callers. they was coming for my neck. You hear me? They was like, so you out here trying to teach Black women to be selfish, blah, 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 destroying a community. Because that's what, first of all, when you dare say feminism, they be like, oh, you.
Oh, yeah. That's the number one thing.
Now I'm talking about Black women like centering ourselves and not giving from a place of emptiness and like not being the fixers of the world and all this other stuff. But that's some selfish ass shit. I mean, it was just getting crazy. Like the interview that was redirecting them. So my point is like, that's a very there's a lot to unlearn generationally. Like a lot of them will say, man, I want my grandfather and my grandmother's relationship and their marriage. They've been married 75 years. What they don't know is that grandpa was probably incredibly toxic, had a whole family someplace else. Grandma probably would have left had she had the resources, or maybe she unpacked some things, right? So that, you know what I mean? So they have this false narrative of what their grandparents were like, right? And then there is this community generational expectation that this is what a good Black woman does. This is what we do. This is what they've always seen do. This is what they've been conditioned to look for in us. I need this ride, hold me down type of chick. And I ain't tell my prison stuff. I'm talking about all forms, like even in the Bible, like you my rib, you know what I'm saying? You just help build.
Real talk. I'm feeling you.
Everywhere. So how do we get brothers to divest from this when it's so, not only is it embedded in them, but they are the greatest benefactors of this?
Absolutely. And so that's what patriarchal is. That, you know, that is what, when you set up a country and you set up everything around how men feel and what makes a men grow and what makes them flourish. They need helpmeets because really they can't do it themselves. Even if we set it up with a country around women, we need men. And so we see this way that America is set up, and especially white patriarchy is very fragile. So we have we have men who have been acculturated into this space of control, fear, and all these different boxes for women. Instead of them, because that's not an African-centered space where women are just put in a corner and we just function for men. Women are hunters. They're in a village. And a lot of times the queens were on top of the kings because of what they brought to the table and their ability to think outside of the box. So a lot of how we're living comes from living in the U.S., in the States. So the first thing we have to do is divest from America. And that's what we don't want to do because we're so comfortable with this shit. We got to say enough. What can we traditionally do that helps our culture? Not what makes us feel good, what holds me down. And then one thing, we have to trust them. A lot of times they want this stuff, but we don't trust you to do it. So we got to have a man that is full, a whole man that will come to the table with his whole self and that we can trust. Women can think. Women are resourceful. Women make money. Women are heads of households. You cannot come to a woman and belittle her for her to help you, and she does not trust you.
Say that last part one more again.
And I'm not a man, so I can't really talk from a man, but I'm talking from a Black woman-centered space, and I understand that we are not going to be with men that we don't trust, and if we are with them, we still got a little something for ourselves because we don't fully trust you. And so a lot of these men are coming half-assed because they're looking for somebody to build them or rebuild them because they've been broken down. And then we have to trust you in that space. No, you got to work on you and come and bring your whole self to me, not for me to always build you. Why can't we build together when we come together?
Thank you. And building together don't always mean starting from scratch, right? Because you're not coming to me. Let me just say this. I don't know. Maybe this is a controversial opinion in some circles or whatever, but when I was broke, because I talk about being broke very often, because a lot of times we have no problem talking about when you grew up impoverished, right? Because at the end of the day, that's a reflection on your parents. That's not on you. We talk about when we was in college and we was broke because, that's cultural. Like you're in college, everybody's eating noodles. You don't talk about being a grown-ass woman with degrees. You follow this quote-unquote recipe for success, and you must have forgot to carry a one somewhere because now your money's fucked up, right? So I'm talking about like I was broke, like grown up. Shanita Hubbard, whole master's degree, blue check on Twitter, broke. Netflix, Hulu hit my account at the same time, fucked up my budget for the week, broke, right? So while I was this broke, I was not dating people because I had too much to go. I was rebuilding, right? I'm like, this is crazy for me to be dating. This is
Men
where
don't do that.
right? This is where I'm focused. I'm focused on doing this and building this, not because I need to prove my worth with money. It's because I, like Maslow's hierarchy of laws type thing, right? I have some fundamental things that I need to straighten out in my life, right? So what you're not going to do is bring your broke ass over here and think I am going to raise you. I'm already a single mother of one. I'm not trying to be a single mother of two. And like, well, you know what I'm saying? God gave Adam Eve and they built with the king. Let me tell you how Adam had a garden. He was out there tilling and working and doing all of this shit, right? But go find Eve then, like, because it's not going to happen with me.
I'm
right?
not her. I'm just not her.
Because my thing is, I'm like, when the guys are broke, like, go focus on you. Like, I'm not 20 something years old. I'm a big grown woman, right? And I'm like, we can all go through seasons of hardship, brother. Yes. But you in a place where you need to be focused on you. You can't bring me we could build together, baby.
But I think men have been taught, especially Black men, that Black women can repair them.
Yeah, but they don't do that for white women. That's why they be like, Kanye jokes about it. When he get on, he leave your ass for a white woman. But the truth is, you don't see too many broke asses coming to snatch up white women. They wait till they become millionaires in the NBA and the NFL.
They're not going to let you snatch them broke. See,
of course they're not.
That's the thing. And then they're not going to go towards them with they know they got to come together. So that's why that becomes a trophy, because they're not going. And it does happen. I'm not saying that all relationships is Black men who are broke. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is,
you're talking about the broke ones, though.
Bring something to the table. Because when you're with a woman, you expect her to bring something to the table. Even if she doesn't have anything, you expect for her to support you. You expect for her to build your business. You expect for her to be a part, your house, keep your house together, keep your children together. So you have expectations for that woman, but you're coming with absolutely nothing. And I'm supposed to build. It doesn't work like that. And we got to get out of these mindsets. Like, listen, I need to trust that you understand what we need to build together, not particularly what you're building.
So when men try to sometimes this doesn't happen at book events, thank God, because I would hate to think somebody actually came all the way out, or some of my book events require to buy tickets to come from my neck. That's more so sometimes when I'm doing interviews and they call in. This whole thing about Black women, so they always ask me about my views on submission, right? I probably have struggles with the word the way some people have struggles with feminism, but let me just give you my
let me hear about the submission. I want to hear that.
From me, this is I get this question all the time, because here I am, this Black woman feminist with talking about degrees and not dating broke women, so they always want to know my thoughts on feminism. Let me tell you this story. So I told you, well, maybe I didn't mention it. So right around the holiday time, actually the day after Christmas, my pipes froze and they burst and caused the house flood, right? Wow. You know that, Queen, because I told you I'm staying in the Airbnb now.
Oh, yeah.
You're so extra. I said, no, I'm staying in the Airbnb. I was doing that. But anyway, so it was just my pipe froze, freaking flood in my house. And I am the least handy woman you'll ever meet in your entire life, honey. Before I became a homeowner, I mean, I just had my toolkit consisted of a butter knife. I could that's it. I don't know. That's it. I don't know. That's not my lane. So now so there's this friend I have where we used to date, but we're still just really good friends, right? Power of the pivot. Everything ain't got to end messy. So the house flooded, whatever. He's an engineer. So I call him or whatever. So the next day, all right. So this is the next day. And no, he came over that night. He did the cleanup and everything, right? So then he's coming back the next day, and I have the inspectors coming over from my insurance company. I'm overwhelmed. I'm exhausted. At that time, I told you guys that my family lost a lot of people. I just lost my grandmother and my aunt, just really overwhelmed. I came back from Christmas and this happened. I'm just exhausted. I'm done. I'm tapped out. So fast forward to us sitting in there. I'm sitting in my living room. It's my house. And then the guy was there from the insurance company. And then my friend walks in. He does a knock and walks in because he knew I was waiting for him. So he smiles at me, kind of puts me a calm, and he gestures with his hands. Relax, I got it. And I know that he got this because I've seen him show up for me lots of times. I know that he has the skill set to do this because he's a whole engineer for the city where he's in, right? Okay. So this is what he does. So he walks in and he's having a conversation with the insurance guy, but it's my house, I own it or whatever. So then now they're talking and they're going upstairs and they make a decision and talk about the process. And it felt so good to be able to sit back and relax. At first, just as instinct, I almost was let me go upstairs with them. But I'm why? It's okay.
It felt good to give it to someone you trust.
Good to give it to somebody I trust. And I knew that I was taken care of. And I knew that he had me. I did not have to think for a second. When it was upstairs, I did. You know how usually in business, we got to be on our toes. Are you trying to get over on me? Yes. I didn't have to be that way because he had me, because he got it. He has a skill set. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt that he has my best interest in mind. Honey, I almost took a nap on that couch. I said, oh my God, this feels so good. I just relaxed. I'm just like, wake me up when y'all done and tell me the plan. Tell me what we're doing next. Tell me how you're handling this. Tell me how you're handling this. And what you need to me for to support you, boo, while you handle this, right? That's how I view submission, right? He didn't need to walk in and say, alpha male, here, submit, right? He didn't even need to say the word submission. He literally, a person I trusted, walked in and made my life easier so that I can relax. And I gladly took his direction while he led because it was safe, because he knew what he was doing, because he had my best interest at mind. And that is what submission is to me. So no Black woman is bucking against that. So if that's not that. So a lot of times people want our complete trust. They want to act as leaders in our life. They want us to do this without even making our lives easier, without demonstrating that we can, that trusting without demonstrating that they have the skill set for us to rest in them, right? Because that's what it is. It's us resting you, right? You haven't even demonstrated that you had the skill set, but you want to come in and be like, alpha male, you're not submitting or whatever. So if you are constantly saying Black women don't submit, then you're saying that you are the common denominator, and you cannot get Black women to rest in your leadership. You cannot get Black women to trust and feel taken care of in your relationship dynamic. That's on you, because that's what we are looking for, and we're fine with it when that's the case.
Ooh, you blew that up, because I don't even know about this is even color. All a woman wants is she wants to trust and she wants to feel safe.
Yep.
That's what we with our mates, we want to trust you and we want to feel safe. A woman wants to feel safe, you know, and so if you provide those two, I think black, green, orange, we would turn tables for you.
Baby. Yes,
we will turn tables. You want to submit? We will move mountains for you.
Honey.
Found a woman that feels loved and she trusts her man and she's safe. She is taking care of everything for him. He is a
wise woman. A wise woman. You know what I'm saying?
That's a kingdom right there.
Yeah, that's a kingdom right there.
Yes. So if that's what you really want, then you Black men, you got to bring something to the table. You know, and you have to bring something. And if those three are encompassing that something, because it's not always money.
It's not
always that. It's just you.
You could be paying all the bills and going out and buying her Chanel purses, but she don't feel emotionally safe with you. If she don't feel emotionally safe with you, that she can trust you, you're not going to have that. So trust
all over the television. These girls have got everything, but they're not emotionally safe because they see what you're doing out here. They're fighting on TV for you because they're not safe. They're not. They don't trust you.
Yes.
And that's why reality TV is beautiful. Because you can see the lack of trust, the lack of safety, everything lacks there. They got a lot of money, they got the bag, they're on television, but it's so lacking of quality, quality relationship. And so if we want quality relationships in our lifestyles with men, so we can unpack this ride or die, we gotta first work on ourselves, but we gotta trust you and feel safe with you. That's it.
That part.
I think that's it. And then submission is easy. You want to submit, do that.
Yes. And actually, and I don't mean like, it's not even so much the word, but like, because that's how, like, my question is like, when I'm in relationships, like, this is the things that I want a man to ask me. And I want to know, like, I want somebody to ask me, like, what do I need to do to make you feel safe emotionally this way? What do you need? Like, you know what I'm saying? What's missing in your life? Like, you know what I mean? Like those type of things. And things I ask men, like, when they be like, I want respect. I don't know what that looks different from every man. Like, what do I need to do to make you feel valued and respected? Like, those conversations are easy.
And you communicate that?
Yes.
You know, it's supposed to be osmosis. You're supposed to feel it. No.
Yes.
Can you communicate what you say respect is? Because I can respect you and you think you're being disrespected. So can we communicate this thing out? It's dynamics of relationship is the two people in it first. And then you start looking at what they're bringing and unpacking in that relationship. But if a Black woman is strong in who she is and she's sick of this fixing and she reads this book, then she's going to have a mate that gives her different vibes, that's bringing different things to the table. And so you get the right to choose who's going to be in your world. Don't choose something you got to fix. What's wrong with you?
Thank you.
Don't do it. You know, if you want to choose that, then fix it, damn it. And I don't want to hear nothing. But
if you want to be a fixer, honestly, I'm gonna say this: like, you redirect that energy, sis. You like to rebuild, remodel, restructure, baby. Go into real estate, get you a fixer up a house, and build your coins that way. Take that energy over there. But you can't. But a man is not a house. You're not gonna go in there like, all I gotta do is knock this down, do this, do that, whatever, whatever. And then you gonna get what? Because sometimes there's no return on that investment.
You won't get a home. I promise you that.
Sometimes you won't get a home, nor any type of return on your investment.
Yes. It's an hour and 30 minutes. I love you. We can talk. Listen, I want to first tell the folks when you come in, let's do that one more time about your book.
Yes. My book is, you can buy it anywhere books are sold.
What it is, say what it is.
Ride or Die, a feminist manifesto for the well-being of Black women. I don't even think I said this part, but I love a good genre blend, right? So it's part memoir. I'm sharing stories about myself, and I'm a sociologist. I teach sociology. That's one of the classes I teach, which is the study of the world around you. So it's part memoir, part sociology, and of course, hip hop, you know, I'm a hip hop head. So that is the entry point that I use to have this larger conversation, but it's for us, and you can buy it anywhere books are sold. And if you are in the Baltimore area, come through, pull up. I'm going to be there April 12th, 6:30 at Enoch Pratt at the main library.
That's right. Listen, come through. The books, there will be books there for you to purchase. They can be signed, and you can communicate with the author. And DaBoXX will be available too. He's a hometown boy. Come see that brother. He's powerful too. So this is going to be something that April 12th, right? That's a Thursday or Wednesday?
I don't even have my phone in front of me.
Okay, but April 12th. Listen, it's April 12th, downtown Baltimore. Come through. So I want you.
This last thing I'm gonna say. This is how much I love this conversation. Don't y'all?
I want you to first leave a jewel.
Wait a minute.
After some of this, I want you to leave a jewel for the people, inspire us. But go ahead, say what you gotta say.
Don't tell my business, y'all, right? But a lot of times when I be doing these interviews, I get a little bit bored because people ask, and they don't mean to, but sometimes people ask the same questions over and over. They don't realize that that's the 700th time I was asked that. So I would be like low-key have my phone, just kind of scrolling and doing. Baby, my phone, I don't even know what room is in right now. I'm just really engaged because I love BlaKBox Radio, and you guys are just blessed to be able to have Queen.
Oh, thank you. You know what? You're such a sweetie pie. I can't wait till we get together and we can throw one back. Because we and I don't even drink, but we're gonna throw something back. I can't wait. April 12th is on and popping. Listen, leave us a jewel. You first, let me first say, you are such a light. You're such a gift. And I just really appreciate your book and you taking yourself, because it takes a little level of transparency to say this was me for too. And I have to deal with me. So me dealing with you, I know other Black women are going through it. And to actually put it into a book, and now we have we got a toolkit right here. We can refer to something that's going to make us better. So I appreciate you. I'm so glad I met you. You are in my life forever. I need you to talk to me more than you text me. Let's talk about that on mic. But I love you to death. I am so glad you came on and to this platform, and I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you. So my final thought, my final word is all of us. I want us to get used to interrogating our own thoughts. Right? Really interrogate our own thoughts. For an example of that is, remember when I said that I find sometimes that the thing that drives me crazy in other women or other people, and even sometimes in my kid, is because it's the thing I want to control it because I haven't mastered that in myself. Pay attention to that thing in you. Like if I'm saying something, or Queen or whatever woman is saying, and it's irking you to your core and your spirit, and you feel because it's something that you haven't yet mastered in yourself, and it's a whole lot easier for you to dissect others' behavior and break it down.
Yes.
Really be intentional about interrogating your own thoughts and your feelings and why something is enraging you.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Listen, guys, we have had Shanita Hubbard. She's the 4th edition to the Power 6 BlaKWomenS History Month at BlaKBox Radio. This has been a next level conversation. You know, it's been everything. It's been cool. It's been hip hop. It's been celebrity. It's been real sister girl. The sister circle is on. So I really appreciate you. Bless you. We about to say good night. We boxed up and out. Let's get some deuces. We out of here. We gone. Don't go nowhere, Shanita. Good night, guys.
Good night.